Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do some painting. We're going to paint the trees that I carved, which will be in the video just before this one that's up. Excuse me. This is what we carved yesterday in the last video. This is about 1 by 1 by 6 inch piece of basswood. So it's this is what they ended up looking like for painting. Now this has mineral oil. That's what I coated the whole thing with, mineral oil. It's the way I like to do it. It just makes the paints flow and you get to work with them a little longer, and I just like the way it looks. You can use about any kind of oil if you like, whatever you feel is best for you. I already painted the base on these pieces that we're working on, and I painted some ahead of time just to save some time on this video. So I just used a brown. I put one coat on and I wiped it off, and you can see I detailed this. This is not in the video. I guess I should explain that. I did detail the branches on these trees. I just used a small V tool and cut these in there. So if you watch the video and you're following this little series on this piece, you can easily cut these in. And I also did the trunk. I put some V marks on that a little bit deeper, just to give it a little bark look, so it looks like a log kind of thing. And I rounded off the bases a bit. Don't forget to sign your stuff. And so, without further ado, so your first step would be put the oil on your project. You need to let it dry for 10-15 minutes. You wipe it down, it's ready to go. It won't interfere with your work. Okay. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take some green acrylic paint. That's what this is, just green. I don't know where I got this stuff. It was like a one-off buy at Sam's Club. They were selling out. I got a whole kit. It has a big fan wheel full of colors. But this is one I picked. It's a green. I wouldn't get too hung up on what colors, what color green exactly. You know, you can use about any color. Oh, by the way, I carved all these with one knife too. Besides the V tool, because I did that today, but I used my favorite, my 35th anniversary Helvey knife. It's a rough out knife, so you know I put all those details, cut all them the branches in with this knife. So just a little shout out to my friends over at Helvey. Okay, excuse me, my throat's a little raw today for some reason. So we're gonna put some green paint out here. Roughly about that much, and we're going to add some water to it. How I do that is I dip my brush, and by the way, we're going to be using two different brushes today. This is a 1/2 inch angle brush here, and then we're going to be using this number 5 round. Okay. So we're going to put some water in there. I just kind of dip my fingers in my little water and put it in there. And we start smearing it around. And it's important to get it mixed good, because if you can see that in the video, you can see it'll turn into, get little chunks in it. And you want to get all them mixed in good so they don't interfere with your painting. Not that this is a very difficult paint job right here. This is actually a pretty easy one, and this whole video here was based on for beginners, so everybody can do it. And being the holiday season upon us, I thought, well, Christmas trees would be pretty cool for people to make. So again, stirred up good. Okay, and it's going to be a little trial and error for you when you're trying to figure out how much water to put in. I don't have an exact recipe. I just kind of eyeball it and look and see what I got, and I think it's going to be fine. And you can always put 2 coats on if if it doesn't work out, if it's not dark enough for you. But I don't like mine solid looking anyway. I like to make mine a little more folky looking. So anyway, let's get to painting one of these. First thing I like to do is get my cut-in work done around here by the base, down in these areas down in here, right inside here. So I'm trying to stay in the camera here and be able to see what I'm doing. Here we go. So I'm going to spread some of that paint under there. Go to the next one. And the trick is just try not to get it all over the trunk. You know, it's already painted. And that's the first thing you would do next is put the oil on, then paint the trunk. And I don't think I ever finished explaining it. Put the paint on the trunk, first coat, let it sit for a minute or so, or two, and then wipe it off with a paper towel or a rag, whatever you got there. So, whoops, better be careful. And wipe it off, then let it sit for a little bit, then put another coat on and wipe it off. And what it does is help darken these little areas that you cut out with your V-tool. And then they pop out a little more. It gives it a little more notability. You can see a lot better. Just good effect. A little more movement, as they call it. Okay, so now I'm going to start spreading this on. Main thing is I want to make sure I get in all my nooks and crannies. And I want to make sure paint gets down inside all of those little V cuts. I quit putting paint on the base there. So you're gonna just again make sure these get all filled up. I kind of try to do one row at a time so I can keep track and make sure everything gets good and coated. I'm just kind of slopping it on there, see? It's because it's not that big of a deal. Because we're going to kind of go back over the whole thing one more time. Once we get all the way back up to the top, we'll come back down and double check everything. And brush out some of the heavy stuff and make sure some of the lighter areas get another touch of paint on them. I would kind of do it as I'm going. I run back over these and even them out a little bit. You know, those of you that, you know, done arts and crafts and this kind of paint, this is probably fairly easy for you. This part is the simple part. The next step, when we put the snow on the trees, that's another little trick. I'll show you how I do that. All right. Okay, well, I think these would make nice little gifts for people. What I'm gonna try to do, I think, is make like a little scene. I'm gonna carve some other trees too. I have 4 of them now. Excuse me, 4 of them now, and I'm going to carve some smaller ones and maybe one bigger one, and make a scene. Maybe carve a couple small Santas or gnomes and whatever. Just maybe mount them all on a board or something. I don't know. Or just make them where you can set them out on like a table, a coffee table, or a shelf, your mantle, whatever. Okay, now we can hold on to the base. Probably should have been doing that all along, but this is okay. And give us a chance to flip it up and look down to get down in these little areas here. Make sure we don't have anything missed. There's a couple little light spots there, but roll it around. Oh, looks pretty good. There. And you notice the paint isn't real solid and even, which is exactly what I want. I don't want it to be solid. I don't want it to look like plastic. I want it to look like I carved it. Okay. All right, well, we got it all pretty much covered now. I don't see any bare spots, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right back. I'm not going to worry too much about the underside unless I see something, but I'm going to take some more paint and I'm going to just kind of brush out over top of all this I already put on, just real quick. And this gives me a chance to make sure that all those little V-cuts that I put in all get covered. So we're just kind of picking up any heavy spots anywhere and then moving them over to the light spots. You don't want no drips or runs. But see right there, see that little spot? If you can see it but there's well, it's kind of hard to see, there's a glare, but there's a spot that's totally missed right there that would stand out like a sore thumb when we get down to the final paints. Okay. It's looking pretty good. Now you can dry these with like a hair dryer, but with the oil on there, you can't put a lot of heat on it, because what the heat does is it draws the oil back out of the wood, and it'll all kind of like pool up again. It'll come to the surface of your carving, and we'll do this. But if you dry it with cool air, or if you put any warm air on it, kind of hold it at a distance. Don't try to blast it and do it too fast, because it'll just mess you up. I guess the best thing is, if you can, just let her dry. But sometimes I just don't have the time to sit around and wait for paint to dry. Okay, so I think that'll do that. It looks pretty good. I don't see anything missed. I think I got it all. Okay, so because of the magic of video, voila, got another one. Whoops, it's already dry, ready to go. So let me clean up this brush real quick. Clean up my paint tray. We're gonna go, now you're gonna need some white paint. You're not gonna need much at all. Just a drop or so. Clean this up. Okay. When I mean a drop or so, I mean a drop or so. You put about that much, not even, but I got a chunk of something in there. Okay, now water, lots of water. Not that much water. And we're going to take that 1/2 inch angle brush, or you can use any brush, but this just seems to work a little better for this technique. Now we're going to mix this up real good. Now we're going to blot our brush out just to make sure there's no heavy solid white paints in it. And then we're going to just barely touch our bristles in there and kind of wipe it off over on your tray a little bit. You should barely get some on there. Then starting at the bottom, we're going to take and hit these tips just like that. And we're going to go around, hit them all a little bit like that. See this? Okay. All right, go up to the next branch. The tip. Might have a little bit too much on here. So we're going to slowly increase the coverage of this paint just a tiny bit at a time. And there's a reason for that. But the most of it is going to be on the tips of the branches. So we want to, that's why I'm starting there and put it on all of these first, so it has a chance to start drying. Okay. So our end results, we want the snow to look like it really accumulated on towards the bottom of the branches. I know there's a lot of people that don't like to paint their carvings. They like carving, but they don't like painting the carvings. I find that painting is just about as much fun as carving. No problem with that. I know there's a lot of guys that I know that carve that they'll pile up their carvings and because they dread painting them, so they sit around and then all of a sudden they got a bunch of them that need to be painted, and then they get around to doing it. Then we're going to put some on the very top too, all the way around that top, just down so far. I'm getting out of camera there. That's the hardest thing about doing these videos, is staying in camera. Okay. So now we're going to go and we're going to put some more on the tips. I'm going to just do this row first. See how it's getting a little darker? We're building up that paint. Okay, I'm having a hard time here. Now we're going to go like that. Go like that, like that, like that. And you can just always keep coming back and visiting those tips. You're not going to put too much on. Unless you get it running, then you get too much on. Okay. Keep working on those tips. And you can take some up the, I use kind of really dry brush on these. Okay, get the gist of it. But these will make a cute little gift for someone. I mean, everybody likes something handmade by your family or friends. Okay. See how these tips are getting a little darker? Yeah, so if this if you haven't seen the other videos, you can go watch them. I have another painting tutorial on there. It's a painting a gnome. It's just a kind of basic paint job. It was a simple carve. I didn't do a video of the carving. I just did the painting tutorial. Someone had asked about it, so I put one up just to help them out. And that one was actually even on Facebook. But I just started this YouTube channel, so bear with me. I'll get some more content up there as we go. Any suggestions, what people would like to see, leave it in the comments. And while you're here watching this, you can click like and subscribe. You can figure out how to do that. I don't know if they're all the same, but mine you just kind of arrow up, and it gives you a little box, and then you slide it over to the right, and then it gives you all the, takes you to the little bell for the like, and I'm sure you can figure it out. But I would appreciate it. A share and a like would be awesome, especially just getting started. Tell your friends. So just about every one of these branches, I come down the sides like that. Give it the little effect that had a little snow the night before, last few days. Okay, now it goes back down to the bottom. Hit some more down there. hope this helps you. Hope, I mean, it's not a rocket science or anything, but surprisingly, there's people that could use this instruction, and I'm happy to help. Give them back. I love everybody's helped me. This is how I've learned how to do just about everything. The painting, kind of trial and error, but I've watched a lot of videos on carving, that's for sure. And it's kind of my way of just giving back, I guess. Helps just one person, that's perfect. I say that in every video I've ever made, that I'm all about helping anybody that wants to get into carving. I'm bringing this down just a little bit farther now. Just a little bit, like the whole top got a little dusting. Well, we're going to see enough of that coming up, aren't we? I mean, geez. Not my favorite. This is my favorite time of the year, the fall, but boy, not what comes after. Okay, so just kind of look your piece over. Make sure you're getting it on everything, on all the tips. Good. Like I said, you want the tips to be the darkest. Tips in the very top. And, a little bit down each one of these branches like that. Barely have any paint on my brush. This is what they call kind of dry brushing it. Well, we just about have it. And what you can do after all your paint is dry, good and dry, you can put a sealer on it. I like to use a matte finish. I don't like the real shiny, but I want to put something on to protect it. And I believe that the best to use is a matte finish. I just think it looks nicer. But if you want shiny, you can put something else on it. Well, what do you think? Let me know in the comments. Again, if there's something you'd like to see that I could help with, put it in the comments. Let me know. Hit me up on Facebook. You can go to Scott's Creative Carvings on Facebook. I'm there. I have an Instagram. I don't ever use it. I have another carving group too on Facebook called Wood Carving and Art for Beginners. That's a fun group. There's a lot of stuff in there. There's almost 10,000 members in there. So if you're on Facebook, stop by and say hi and join. It doesn't cost nothing. Just like it doesn't cost nothing to hit that like button and subscribe. And just makes it easier to find me when you subscribe. But I think that's about it. We'll let that dry, and it'll darken up as it dries, and it'll look something like this. Now, I haven't put a sealer on this one yet. And I'll just wait till I get them all done, then I'll seal them all. But here's a Christmas tree, or a tree. You could put decorations on them. You could wrap thread or string around it and make it look like it's some kind of garland or whatever. You can just use your imagination, make whatever you want. But you know, again, I want to thank you for watching, and we'll see you the next time. Bye now.